I'm waiting for people to come. I do apologise for the abortive stream because I don't know why I couldn't quite get it to work. But instead of fiddling around and trying to work it out, I guess I should just start a live, just go live, and hope you all manage to catch up. I do apologise. I still can't work out what the problem was, but perhaps I will later. And I hope it will be a short stream, because I basically just need to say that if you disagree with me and I am correct, then it's you who has a problem. Well, I'm not claiming I'm infallible, but the only way that you can get me to change my mind is to prove that whatever I have, the facts that I'm relying on are untrue, or that the logic with which I used to arrive at my conclusion was wrong. And that's all you need to do to win the argument with me. Is that fair enough? I think it is. I do hope I'm not talking to myself again. This would be the third time. So I guess I'm demonstrating quite conclusively that I'm not infallible. Oh, phew, there's one person watching anyway. And if you post a comment, I will be able to respond to that. But perhaps I don't need your input, really, because I just need to quickly say that those who refuse to engage with me are not being quite truthful, quite logical, or quite moral, are they? They are basically saying, because I don't like what Claire says, she is mad and silly. And I don't even need to have to prove it, because I can just disengage from her, and because I have the bigger channel, I will cause her ideas to be ignored. And this is what the mainstream media do to you. They don't engage with you, and you are doing the same to me. And proof of it is, I suppose, the people I do want to engage with, people such as Mark Collett and Millennial Woes and anyone in the alt-right who might be worth talking to. So who have I spoken to in the alt-right? Is E. Michael Jones part of it? Well, he's always saying things about Jews, so I guess that would put him within the alt-right, because because the definition of being alt-right is being anti-Semitic, Islamophobic and racist, right, Mark Smith? So, E. Michael Jones is well known for his anti-Semitic views. He says he doesn't hate Jews, but really, nobody believes him. Now, I've spoken to a few Jews who have spoken to him, but he makes the category error. And nobody ever pulls him up on it, and I do. I do, because I think I spotted it at once. But apart from two exchanges I had with him, he won't talk to me again, because he knows he can't successfully defend Christianity from the accusation of being idolatry, and he can't defend his refusal to discuss with me the difference between an observant Jew and a non-observant Jew, i.e. a liberal, assimilated atheist Jew, and I'm saying it's very important that these distinctions be made. And he wasn't interested in discussing it together because it suited his anti-Semitic agenda to lump them all in one group. It would be as bad as me saying white people to look at them, they're terrible. Look at what these white people do. They started 2 world wars, and they probably will start a 3rd world war, and they are Christians, so let's get white people who are Christians. Now that wouldn't be quite fair, would it? Because you'll be saying, well, we're not all Christians, and we're not all neocons, and we're not all neoliberals. In fact, a lot of white people living in the West are helpless against their leaders who pump the moral sewage of globo homo everywhere, but we can't stop them because, our political system is kaput. Democracy is indeed dementia. And Christianity is indeed kaput. And it's not our fault, is it, that our religion and political system is kaput? And I'm kind of saying it is if you ignore what I'm saying. And I think a lot of you are part of the of those who are willfully blind. And so if you were properly following your religion, you'd go, Christ. It was Christ who said, there are none so blind as those who will not see. So I guess he was talking about you lot, and because you're all post-Christian, you don't believe in such things anymore. You certainly reject Christ, probably because he was Jewish. And that's why we are now on the brink of a 3rd World War, and nobody is even talking about the fundamental basis of important things and important words such as religion and political system and morality and justice and truth and logic. You don't care because you basically don't want to admit that you ever made a mistake. And that would be the deadly sin of pride. So, who are these people suffering from narcissistic personality disorders? Well, they would be people who disagree with me. They disagree with me, but they can't quite say how their ideas, the basis on which they disagree with me, is based on sounder truth, better logic, and better morality. They can't say it. So basically they are infantilized adults who want to win the argument without winning it. And obviously they come from a kind of from a background of bad parenting, whose parents basically let them win the game. They let them win whatever game they were playing, or they'll just get upset and throw a tantrum, and so their parents appeased them, and so they always thought that they were better at chess or drafts or Monopoly or whatever than anyone else, and if they ever lost a game they would throw a tantrum. So everybody let them win because it's like, well, who cares? I mean, it's only a game, isn't it? Let the kid win. And I've always disagreed with that, because there is something about being adult that is better than being a child, isn't there? Unless you're an adult who longs to be a child again, and then which means that you're not much of an adult. But I'm afraid this is the problem we have now, that I'm dealing with infantilized adults. So adults who have sex and make adult decisions, but really have the mind of a child, who won't take responsibility for anything, and who blames Jews, Muslims, and non-whites for their problems, and refuse to face the facts of their failed religion and their failed political system. The people, I could, list them all. Church of Entropy. Why doesn't she any longer talk to me? Because she's tired of losing all her arguments. Yes, indeed. What about people like OV? Well, OV will talk to me, but only in a way that leaves no permanent record of what passed between us. So you can even get him to agree with you that religion is important for society, but the next time you talk to him, he will say, no it isn't. He won't read the Quran, he won't read the New Testament either, he won't read the Torah because he's an atheist, and fascism will do the trick. But then you ask him why he thinks he can get fascism implemented in America, and there will be no answer. And then there's, of course, Pastor J, who thinks he can say that Christianity is not kaput, but maybe yes it is, and maybe no it isn't, and yes and no, and maybe, and yes and no, and maybe, and round in circles. And I know why he won't come down, definitely, one way or the other, because he knows that if he says Christianity is kaput, he knows what's coming, and it would be, well, you have to choose Islam. And he doesn't want that, clearly, and he knows that I can't make him accept Islam. I can't even make him accept secular Quranism, because, well, basically, I can't make him, and I can't make anybody who doesn't listen to reason, doesn't care about the truth, doesn't care about morality. I can't make them listen. And of course, tactically, that is the correct attitude, the correct strategy to use, to never engage until your civilization goes down the toilet, and then they can go to their graves thinking, we won the argument, or if we didn't win the argument, we didn't lose the argument to Claire, who did have a solution, which could have worked, but we were going to ignore truth, logic, and morality in order to suppress her idea. And this is, of course, what Millennial Woes and OV and Church of Entropy and all the others who do know of my existence, and I know they do because I do make myself known. Brutus knows who I am, Millennial Woes knows who I am, Mark Collett knows who I am. I think once upon a time Richard Spencer did acknowledge one of my tweets. But these are impermanent ways. So you can say, oh, well, that was a long time ago, I didn't mean it, I was only joking. And that's why you can't deal with people like that, who have no sense of honour, who don't mean what they say. And this is the crux of the matter. People who believe in nothing, who will lie and laugh in your face when you point out that they've told a lie. It's all, yeah, so I told you a lie. What are you going to do about it? Who cares? And anyway, all my politicians tell lies, and nobody gets punished for it. And so this just means that you will ignore truth, logic, and morality, and this means you are a nihilist, and a nihilist doesn't care what happens to them after they are dead. They are only interested in the pleasures of this life and what gratifies them while they are still alive. And this means they don't care about posterity, and they don't care about posterity because they have no offspring, and they even admit that they have that they don't wish to become married parents. And so what they'll do is not save anything for the next generation, not inconvenience themselves in any way to have children, certainly not legitimate children, and basically, like a swarm of locusts, eat everything in their way, and leave nothing behind, because they know they only have a short life. And so this is why these people should be ignored. All their views, they should be ignored. So it's very easy to show who has basically ignored everything that is true, that is logical, and that is moral. I suppose I could go through a catalogue of times when they've told what they know were blatant lies. But it's just easier to say to them, what have I said that is untrue, that is illogical, that is immoral? And then we will have to discuss truth, logic, and morality, and that's what they don't want, and that's why they won't engage. And that's why, in the end, I will win. Because, in the end, it is people who have offspring who will win. Through their offspring, who at least have the theoretical possibility of existing in the future to correct themselves, even as those who will die childless without issue will have no chance of correcting their mistake, even through a biological extension of themselves. But this is all in the long term, and nihilists won't care about the long term. They will consider it a win if they can go to their graves and liberalism is still the official political ideology of the West. They think that's a win. They think that they haven't lost, or that I haven't won, which is actually more important to them. So I'm saying basically they should all be ignored. Who's going to do that? Well, I guess somebody more powerful than me saying this is what should be done. We're going to marginalise all these people who have been proven to ignore truth, logic, and morality. I think I've said all I need to say, so I'll finish the stream now. Thank you for your attention.